What's going on, guys? This is going to be our summary of markets week 65. We're going to do things a little differently this week, though. I'm going to start out with the summary of markets as always, but then instead of an options watch list, instead of looking at equities, we're actually going to look at crypto. And I'm going to go over some crypto charts that I like, some of the things that I'm currently playing, and some of the things that I'm looking to play. Crypto has been a lot easier than equities the past few weeks, and it's still in a very strong bull market when equities are getting very choppy. So we're going to focus on crypto for this week's video. So hopefully you guys like that. So we're going to start with SPY as always. Basically last week, nothing happened. All chop, no direction. All 5 days were dojis. You had one day that tried to break out on Thursday, couldn't find any buyers, and then sold off back on Friday. Friday, if we look at the intraday price action, one of the worst days I've ever seen. Very, very choppy, no direction really. You were kind of going down, but you tried to bounce a lot out of support and then immediately retraced. So if you were looking at that on low time frames like 5-minute, 50-minute, it was untradeable. Very, very bad. But looking at higher time frames, you basically are topping out here. There's no real direction just yet, but I would say this is looking like a top. You have a bearish divergence coming in on the Momo. You're finding some sell pressure on the short-term momentum. Long-term momentum still pretty flat. But if we do fall below like 414, 411, this could get ugly pretty quickly. But as long as these supports hold, these little Fibonacci supports here along with the OTS trail, you could go higher. So as long as 414, 411 hold, you should be looking for like 425. That would be your local target. But if you do lose 414, 411, I would be looking for some gap fills down around 407 and 400. Okay. For right now, no direction. I wouldn't be taking any big swing trades. Wait for it to find support. Wait for it to find some strong buy pressure. There's just really no confident trades right now. Moving on to gold, we're still breaking out of that downtrend. A little bit of a consolidation, but as long as you stay above like 1750, I think it looks pretty good. Excuse me. As long as you stay above 1750, I think 1770 is a little bit of support as well. 1810 is the main target, and then 1920 after that would be the final target. But for right now, we had that bulldog, broke out of it, and now we're consolidating. As long as this consolidation stays above the bulldog head, which is basically anywhere from like 1720 to 1750, this should be pretty good. This should be pretty bullish, right? Now, if we do fall below the OTS trail, below the 50-day moving average, you could get back into this channel, which would lead you back down to around 1660. That'd be very nasty. But for right now, I would lean slightly bullish. Moving on to oil, you had that accumulation right here with that little bear flag, broke out bullishly, came back to retest it, flipped the OTS trail, and now we're continuing higher. So for right now, it does look bullish. This could be a lower high. So if you don't find immediate buy pressure like Monday, Tuesday, that could be a lower high. But as long as you stay above the 50 moving average and the OTS trail, I think this continues higher. We're looking for like 67 to 69, somewhere around that 69 to 71 area. You have some Fibonacci targets there. You also have a pivot there as well. If we lose the OTS trail, look for 59, look for 56. All right. Moving on to Bitcoin, you had a little bit of a scare last week where you sold off pretty strong, but you found support almost immediately off that kind of initial breakout range around like 48,000. So nice little doji there, and then you had an engulfing candle come in, and now we're pushing off of that engulfing. So you were actually failing the monthly VWAP, like right around here. I did tweet about that. And then the 56.6 area was a lot of resistance, but we actually broke that resistance, and now we're flipping it as support. So as long as you stay above like 566, this looks pretty good. You're at 568 right now. So anything above 566, I would lean bullish. You would want to look for around 63,000, and then probably a breakout to around 70,000. If we lose 566, look for 52, and then back down to like 48. Okay. Moving on to Ethereum, completely opposite charts. Like, look at these charts here. Topping out, kind of selling off. Ethereum straight up, right? So we broke that little downtrend that I talked about on our summary last week, and we just basically went vertical. No resistance was found. You tried to find a little bit of resistance around that initial target around 2,800, but nothing really pushed you down there. And now we're pushing higher. Our final target is around 3,160, so keep an eye on that. As long as you stay above like 2,800, I think this easily hits your final target. If you lose 2,800, then I would look for around 2,500 as a retest. Okay? But all right, this is where we're going to change things up a little bit. I am going to move over to my other watch list here, and we're actually going to talk about crypto instead of equities. So let's move on to this here. Now, the biggest ones that I'm watching that I'm actually currently playing are the baskets. So mid-perp looks really good. You had a daily buy signal come in last week, and now we're starting to climb. We broke that initial high, that previous high, I mean. I think that's an all-time high. Yeah, so we're in an all-time high right now. This looks really good. As long as you stay above like 5250, that little resistance right there, I think this continues higher. Momentum's starting to climb, so this looks really good. If we look at the volume profile here, you can see that the VWAP has been climbing very steadily the past few days, and we're breaking out of balance right now. So very, very bullish here, as long as you stay above that kind of 5650. The other basket that I'm playing is alt perp. So this one's getting a little toppy here, maybe a double top, but still looks really bullish with the buy signal coming in the past few days. A couple days ago, I mean. You broke resistance, which was around 5,400. So as long as you stay above that, which we did come back to retest today, as long as you stay above that, it should continue higher. Looking at the volume profile, this one's a little bit more toppy. So you have that VWAP climbing the past few days there, but then we're kind of distributing here. So we're topping out a little bit. You can see the value is kind of overlapping. So we are finding a little bit of distribution here. But if we do break above like 5640, we should be breaking very bullishly higher. So there's a lot of value here. So if we break above this value, this will become a lot of support. So anywhere from like 5550 to like 5650 will become major support. All right. Another one that I'm playing right now is Ray Perp. I really like this Ray chart. Let me take log off here. Look at this range that Ray was in. You had a bunch of highs here, and then look at where we retested. Okay? So you're ranging, pop above the range, retest the range. Okay? I bought the dip when it came down to retest the range. So we're pretty profitable already. But I'm looking for a breakout to around 19 or 20. Now, 16 is really not a bad place to take profit if you want to take a short-term trade. But I'm looking for a longer-term trade, a break into this upper impulse area around $20. So if you do fail back below, I'd say like 15 before breaking 16, 20, then that probably will be a little bit of a fake out. Maybe we'll retest around 13 to 1250. But for right now, it does look pretty bullish. Couple other ones that I was watching. Cake. I really like Cake. You had a daily buy signal way back here that was breaking out. The 4 hour is getting a buy signal right now. So if this does confirm in the next 3 hours, this will be pretty bullish moving forward. If you break like 43.50, this should definitely go higher. Okay? So keep an eye on this. Anything above like 43.50 is very, very bullish. Let's take a look at Doge. I know a lot of you guys have been trading Doge. Doge looks pretty good. The problem is this could be a cup and handle. So this could be a little double top here. Resistance around like 40 cents. If this were to put in a handle, this would probably come down to somewhere around 30 to 35, and then it would push back higher. You're still bullish on the bot. The bot had a daily buy signal way back here. It has not closed. If we go down to the 4 hour, we did close, but then we flipped back into a buy way back here, and we've been in a buy ever since. So still very bullish. Most of the time frames are still in buy signals. But I would wait, if you're not already in this trade, either for a pullback of the handle or a breakout of around 41 cents on that resistance. Okay? OKB was one that had a buy signal. I called this out on Discord. This has basically already ran most of its move. The only reason that I would trade OKB is if you were trying to take some very, very small scalps, maybe on like a 5-minute time frame. But the daily buy signal came in. You absolutely ripped. It's up like 80% since the daily buy signal. So it's definitely extended. But if we go down to like a 5-minute, this is giving you some very good scalps. So if you guys are scalp traders, keep an eye on these moves on the 5-minute, because these ranges are like 5 to 10% ranges. So if this flips back into a buy signal here, you could look for a scalp into around like 42 to 43. Now, obviously, when this video comes out, it might be a little late, but just keep an eye on the 5-minute, keep an eye on the 15-minute. Any trend breaks on this should give you some very big percentage moves, okay? Few more that I was watching here. Let's take a look at Link. I like the daily buy coming in on Link yesterday. You have confirmed that buy. You had a little bit of a pullback today, but if this thing can break above like 42, this can definitely go higher. The target I would be looking at would be somewhere around 47 to 50 as my breakout target. Now that would be only on a breakout of that resistance. If we go down to a 4-hour, we're already in a buy, so this would be a little late if you haven't got in this already. Because if you got in the daily, you would be taking it with a stop loss probably at least minimum 15% away. If you wanted a safe stop loss, it would be even farther away. So obviously you'd have to target a pretty strong breakout. That's why if you targeted like 50, that would give you around a 25% target. So if your stop loss was around 15%, that wouldn't be too bad. A few more that I was watching. ZRX was giving a daily buy yesterday. Let's see if it confirmed. So this did confirm. Keep an eye on this one. This one's more kind of a knife catch. You're not really uptrending on this one. It's more of a range. But you did confirm a daily buy yesterday. Nice little pullback on today's candle being bought up. So if this can continue higher, let's go down to like a 15-minute. If we can continue higher, breaking these resistance levels around like $2, let's say $1.97 to $2, this could definitely start to push higher on the daily. And I would be targeting around $2.30 on the daily here. Okay. Moving on, Tron was another one that gave a daily buy yesterday. Let's see if it confirmed. It did confirm, but you are pulling back like the other charts. So if this can break that daily buy, so right around like 13.3, this could definitely go higher. I would be targeting around 16 cents on that as my target. If you were to take this, the stop loss would be, let me see, 25%. Yeah, you'd have to put your stop kind of below the range here. One that I really liked that I already took profit on is Atom. So Atom had a daily buy. It was breaking out of this nice little bull flag here, but I took profit on this candle here. I was looking for around like 28 to at least 26, but because it started to pull back and Bitcoin was pulling back, I went ahead and took profit. I might re-enter this with a tight stop loss. So maybe a stop loss like right below the monthly VWAP, probably around like 8%. And then I would be targeting around 20% on that resistance level there. So I still like Atom. The problem with Atom is you're still ranging. So you could get a lot of chop inside this area here. I think I have a few more. Let's see. So I still like Rook. Let's see if Rook confirmed that daily buy. Okay, no, it didn't. So I don't like this anymore. This was putting in a daily buy yesterday, but it obviously turned off, so I don't like that anymore. Let's move on to another one. Let's see. XTZ was putting in a daily buy as well. Okay, so that one did confirm. The problem with XTZ is you have a monthly VWAP right here above you around like $6. If you can flip that monthly VWAP, then this looks really good. And you could probably see around $7 to $7.20. That'd be like a 20% gain. So if you took that flip of monthly VWAP, your stop loss would have to be pretty tight, probably around like 10%, and then targeting that high. I think I've got a couple more. Let's see. Reef had a daily buy yesterday. So that did confirm, and you're also flipping the monthly VWAP. So you put in the monthly VWAP around 3.8 cents. So if you can hold that VWAP, this one's also in a nasty range here, but this is a very high risk, high reward play because of this range, right? This has not run like a lot of these other altcoins, right? So if this does finally break out of this range, this thing can go on a tear. So keep an eye on this. If this does get back above, I'd say 4.5, anywhere around like 4.6, 4.7. This little area right here. This could go probably until the all-time high around like 6 cents. Okay, so keep an eye on that. Daily buy coming in, a little bit of buy pressure below you, right above the monthly VWAP. So that's a really nice one. All right, finally, Litecoin. It was putting in a daily buy yesterday. Okay, it did confirm. So daily buy did confirm. Now we want to see some price action trading above that daily buy to confirm that. Okay, so keep an eye on that. Let's go down to a lower time frame. Yeah, 4 hours still in a buy. Let's see the 1 hour. 1 hour is actually in a sell. So when this flips into a buy, this should continue higher. I'm actually going to set an alert on this so I don't forget about it. Let's put that on a buy signal, and let's put that on the 1 hour. So when this flips into a 1 hour buy, that should be confirming the daily buy, and then we should push into around 300, and then we could even go to probably like 330 to 340 if that wants to break resistance. Excuse me. All right, so before we end this video, I'm going to go over some big tech, and then we're going to call it a video. I actually have my tech charts on my other layout. Let's load that one. All right, so Microsoft topped out right on our 262 target. You had bad earnings, sold off, and now we're bouncing off our support. We filled the gap around 249. If this can hold the bounce off this gap fill, I think this will start to push back into that earnings gap, and then you will create another gap fill. So if you can reclaim like 257, 262 would be the obvious scalp. But for like more of a swing trade, as long as you hold 249, this looks pretty good. If you get below 249, I would be looking for around 241. Moving on to Apple. Apple had a pretty weird earnings because you pumped up during the post market and then you pumped up during the day of, but then the next day, or that same day you sold off, and the next day you did gap down. So not too good. If you can hold above 130, you could pop back up and fill that gap. If you can hold above 133, look for 137. Below 130, look for 127. Facebook had one of the best reactions to earnings. You had a massive gap up, but then you created a nasty hanging man candle. If you see a hammer like that after a gap up, it's typically pretty bearish. So not looking too good. You did confirm that bearish candle on Friday as well, so definitely not looking too good. If it does get back below our targets, it hit all of our targets, by the way, so this trade is basically over. But if it gets back below these targets as resistance, then I would be looking for a gap fill down to 307, okay? If you can hold above 326, look for 340. Netflix still accumulating, but it hasn't really started to fill that gap yet. If you can get back above the monthly VWAP, above like 520, then you would start to fill that gap. Look for around 530 and then 547. You break below 500, look for 488. Amazon also had a weird reaction to earnings. Very good earnings, popped up, but then you sold off. You hit our targets around 3509, 3526. You did not hit our target at 3583. If this thing loses 3446, you're probably going to go back down to around 3340. Okay, so probably a nasty sell-off there. I can't see this thing going much lower, though. The earnings was very good. And their last earnings was very good, too. So the past two earnings have been spectacular. So this stock should run. Amazon should definitely run after finding some buyers. Tesla had a beautiful reaction of that 666 pivot. So we had a pivot at 666, a little bit of support around 664. Beautiful reaction. Came down, tested that level to the tick, and then bounced off it, basically creating the low of the day. You popped back up, and then the high of the day was another pivot around 711. So pivot to pivot on Friday. The low of the day and the high of the day were both OTS pivots. If we could break above 711, look for 737. You break above that gap fill, you're looking for 769. Okay? If you fail below the 666 pivot, you're most likely going to go down to VWAP around 648, and then there's a small level around 629, 632-ish. Okay? But all right, guys, that is the summary markets. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little change up that we did, going over some crypto charts. If you guys liked the video, make sure to like the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow for our live trading session in Discord. Peace out, guys.